In the past, technical innovation has brought us game-changing trends such as progressive geometry, 29-inch wheels, mullet bikes, stealth dropper posts, single-ring drivetrains and internal frame storage. All things we now take for granted. But for better or for worse, what are the trends we're seeing influencing bike design right now? And what are the future developments coming over the horizon? Those are the questions we're going to try and answer in this video. Let's kick off with perhaps the most hyped tech trend for 2024, and that's the gearbox. Now, we've been around long enough to have seen the trend for gearboxes come and go several times. Normally what we see are a few headline-grabbing prototypes, a lot of chatter in the forums, back when people used to use forums, and then nothing. The hype would die away and everyone would go back to their derailleurs, and that would be the end of it for another 5 years. And the reasons why were simple. They added additional friction, they were clunky, the shifters weren't very ergonomic, and you couldn't shift under load. On every gearbox bike we've ridden, and there have been plenty, we came to the same conclusion. Nice idea, shame about the execution. Maybe the Honda RN01 would have changed that opinion, but we weren't lucky enough to sneak a ride on one of those, even if we did get to play with the gears in the workstand while the engineers had their backs turned. But that's another story. So, is 2024's trend for gearbox bikes as much of a red herring as it's always been? Well, maybe not, because there is a product that may have solved the biggest issues with previous gearboxes, namely the shifter itself and changing gear under load. That product is the Pinion E112S Motor Gearbox Unit, or MGU. Well known for its gearboxes, Pinion has combined a motor and gearbox into a single unit that is a potential game changer for e-bikes. Offering the panacea of less maintenance, reduced risk of damage and less unsprung mass, the MGU has the potential to last a lifetime. Unlike a derailleur system, you can also shift while coasting, or even when you're stationary. The 12 gears boast a 600% range, and while the 4.1 kilo drive unit in gearbox is heavier than a standalone motor, it lets you save around 800 grams at the rear axle, which should help the suspension action and potentially the dynamics of the bike. All you need to do is change the gearbox oil once a year. At the moment, it's available on models from Rotfield, Simplon and Bulls, but we wouldn't be surprised to see other brands jumping on the bandwagon. Staying with e-bikes for a moment, the other big trend we're seeing gathering momentum is for lightweight mid-power e-bikes. I know we've been saying this for about 5 years now, but 2024 could really be the year it catches on. Honestly, just you wait. And the reason is the arrival of Bosch. With its new Performance SX motor, the German giant boasts more power and range than its rivals, as well as a great reputation for reliability and service. We've already ridden the new motor on the white E-Lite and the Bulls Sonic Evo SX, and we expect many more brands to offer bikes with this system during the next 12 months. Will it be enough to prize existing e-bike owners away from their heavyweight, full-power machines? That's the big question. And it's certainly not going to be easy, as power is an addictive drug. But the potential to enjoy a more versatile bike with more playful handling could be enough to get some riders to go cold turkey, or more accurately warm turkey. Likewise, those riders still holding out on an analog bike may find it increasingly difficult to resist the lure of the dark side. Something that might come hand in hand with the growth in new diet e-bike models is internal frame storage. Commonplace on analog bikes, it's not something we've seen until recently on e-bikes, for the obvious reason that there's a ruddy great battery inside the downtube. But Orange's latest Phase Evo with the Bosch SX motor managed to find enough space at the top of the downtube for a small storage compartment. Considering how much we like internal storage on bio-powered bikes, we reckon this would be a really nice addition to lightweight e-bikes as well. They don't need to be massive, but anywhere you can fit a tube, a mini tool, or a packet of emergency jelly babies is good by us. Okay, now for a trend we would love to see the back of. No surprises for guessing, it's headset routed cables. Honestly, it feels like there's a bunch of disgruntled road bike engineers out there that have hated having to implement through axles, disc brakes and big volume tyres on their streamlined speed machines, and have decided to take revenge by giving us headset cable routing. But in the interest of balance, let's look at the advantages. Okay, maybe it can, and I stress can, give you a clean cockpit look, but not always, and it can also make your cockpit look like a dog's dinner. And maybe you could argue that there's less risk of damaging your cables in a crash when the bars spin round, but in every other way it sucks. Adjusting your bar height sucks. Adjusting your stem length sucks. Servicing your headset sucks. Removing your fork sucks. I sense a theme developing here. Yes, it sucks. Please kill it with fire. Another trend that will stir the emotions of any passionate mountain biker is the rise of the machine. Increasingly, the humble mountain bike is being controlled not by the nut that holds the bars, but by a number of microchips and algorithms. Humans are being sidelined, riders are becoming more like passengers, and the very purity of mountain biking is under threat. Well, that's the alarmist, clickbait, headline-grabbing take on technology such as auto shift, flight attendant and ABS braking. The truth is that these systems are on a tiny proportion of very expensive models, so this is hardly an evil phenomenon that is plotting world domination, and you can just switch it off. Put aside your prejudices and actually ride these systems and you start to see the advantages emerge from the paranoia. Perhaps not everywhere, in every situation, for every rider, but in plenty of circumstances they do a better job than we can, which can, in turn, free up your mental or physical capacity to do something else better. So being able to ignore your suspension or your gear changes or how sensitively you pull the brake allows you to brake later, choose a better line or improve your timing, and that can be a huge benefit. We're also merely scratching the surface of what these systems are capable of, so there's no doubt that they will only get cheaper and more effective over time. We just need a foolproof way of remembering to charge all those extra batteries after every ride. After a long period of consolidating suspension designs across the industry, it looks like we could be about to enter a world of wacky linkages again. Across the board, frames seem to have settled on a variation of rocker link 4-bar, seat stay driven 4-bar or virtual pivot twin link designs. This has led to loads of similar looking bikes. Ubiquity is not great for business, and in the quest to improve product differentiation, we could start seeing some crazy designs break cover, even from mainstream brands. That's the purely cynical take. What's also driving this trend is the quest for better suspension performance, where brands seek to control multiple suspension variables individually, such as leverage rate, axle path, anti-squat and anti-rise. Trying to optimise several characteristics at once leads to more pivots, more linkages and much greater complexity, but also has the potential to deliver better suspension performance. And that's why we're hearing more about bikes with 6-bar linkages, such as the Atherton bike, the Commensol Supreme V5, specialised new demo prototype, and the Yeti E160. We're also seeing bikes with main pivots and shocks on rails to give more consistency and control over leverage or axle path. It's not a new concept, but it's certainly one that seems to be making a comeback. Short cranks is a trend that also seems to be gathering momentum. E-bikes were the original catalyst behind this trend, where the need for ground clearance surpasses the requirement for additional crank leverage, which has led to 165mm and 160mm cranks now being commonplace on e-bikes. But short cranks have also been spreading their wings onto analogue bikes, helped by the arrival of Hope's 155mm Evo cranks. Now we've got short crank evangelists such as Dakota Norton and Remy Morton flying the flag. The trend is sure to gather pace. Okay, this one is nothing new, but with more brands adding adjustability to their bikes, we figured it was worth including here. Specialized is the undisputed king of mutation, with bikes like the Stumpjumper Evo, Turbo Levo, Levo SL and Canevo SL offering extensive adjustment options. But plenty of other brands including Trek, Canyon and Scott allow customization of weight balance and sizing with drop-in headset cups. Which neatly leads me onto the final trend, which is more of a prediction than a fashion. Model ranges have expanded massively over the past couple of years as brands try to cater to an ever-increasing spectrum of tastes. To be considered a comprehensive brand, you need to have a couple of hardtail designs, an XC bike, a downcountry bike, a trail bike, an enduro bike, a downhill bike, a lightweight e-bike and a full power e-bike. Then maybe you need both 29-inch and mullet versions of the most popular platforms. You'll need at least 4 frame sizes for each model, and to get a good spread of prices you'll probably want to offer both alloy and carbon frames. With every model getting say 3 price points, you're looking at over 50 different models times 4 frame sizes. That's at least 200 different mountain bike SKUs for a brand like Trek or Specialized. In reality it's many more, which seems completely mental to us and totally unsustainable given the economic climate and environmental concerns. So we expect some big range consolidations over the next few years where brands trim the fat from their ranges and maybe try to incorporate adjustable sizing and geometry to their models so that they can manufacture fewer frames but cover the same scope of rider heights. But that's just a hunch. So thanks for watching and let us know in the comments if there are any trends we've missed out.